Hey everybody, Dustin here from Lane ESD, and we are going to be coming back at you with another lesson 3 today. We're going to talk about notifications, email, and we're going to also talk a little bit about Google Docs integration. Now, unfortunately, this is my third time recording this video because for some reason, boy, it just has not been recording the audio, so I am really hopeful that this time works. But let's get into it. Let's look at our stream. This is the beginning of our class here. All right, so very first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about notifications. So one of the things that I realized when I first started this course was that, and when I taught with in my classroom as well, is that every time a student submits work, every time a student sends you a post or sends you a notification, every time a student posts anything to the stream, you're going to get an email about it. And so if you have 150, 250 students, somewhere in that range, then you might get 150 to 250 emails for every single assignment that you submit, that you put in there. And so that is too much for me. I can't stand that kind of email load. So I want to show you how to turn some of those notifications off. Let's go over here to Introduction to Google Classroom, and you'll notice again, let me just double show you that again, the 3 lines right next to Introduction to Google Classroom. This is where you can switch between your classes again, but also it allows you to go to your settings and allows you to change your notifications. You can also change your profile picture here, things like that. But most importantly is notifications. Now here is a global notifications checkbox. If you turn this off, you will receive no emails at all from Google Classroom. That might be great, but the problem with that is that anytime somebody sends you a private message about a particular assignment or post something to the class, you may not see that notification and be able to screen it or reply to it. So Google also allows you to turn on and off different pieces. So for example, in the comments, I want to know about all the comments. So comments in any of my posts, comments that mention me in that post, or private comments on work. Remember, if you've noticed when you turn in your assignment, there's a place to allow you to comment directly to the teacher and say, hey, I don't understand this concept. Can you please help me out? That's what that private comment is for, and I want to make sure I get those. So I've got that turned on. Now, classes I've enrolled in, for me personally, this is not a huge deal. I'm enrolled in many classes that people have asked to have me help them out with and just kind of check some things out, although there's been some difficulty getting into some courses, but the ones I have been able to get into, I don't care if they posted some work or things. I'm not responsible for doing that work, so I've got those notifications turned off. I don't want those emails. But I do want to know if somebody invites me into one of their classes as a student, so I've got that one turned on. And then under classes I teach, because this is a work at your own pace kind of course, I don't care about late submissions or resubmissions, or even at this point invitations to co-teach, but I do want to know about this last one. So what this is telling me is that when I schedule an assignment or a post to go out at a later date, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, then I want to know if that goes out or if it failed, if it didn't go out for some reason. And so I've got that one turned on. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, class notifications. For each class that you are a student or that you teach yourself, you can turn notifications on and off for that. Because I've got over 100 students right now in this course, I want to really just focus on this one course. That's priority for us at the ESD, is to help people get up to speed with online learning. So that's my primary focus. It's all I want to hear about. None of these other are going to be my priority. So I've got all of them turned off. So that's notifications. And if you have any questions, please email me so I can help you out. Let's go back to our main screen here, Introduction to Google Classroom, and let's talk about email. In order to get to the email section within Google Classroom, you go up here to the people part, and this would be so awesome if it worked. You would say I needed to talk to Anna. I would click over here and say, hey, Anna, here's the deal about this particular assignment, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, we're sorry, but you don't have access to the service. Talked to my tech folks. They said, yeah, that's pretty much the case. Probably there will be nobody who's able to use that feature. It's kind of a bummer. It's a really nice, easy way to get to your students and answer their questions. So unfortunately, that service is probably not available. Go ahead and give it a shot. See if it is in your district, but just understand it probably will not be. So email, not a thing within Google Classroom. So we got classwork. We talked about the notifications. We talked about email. Let's talk a little bit about Google Docs. So I'm going to go up here to classwork, and I want to create a new topic because this is our third topic now. So lesson 3. Lesson 3, we have notifications, email, and Google Docs. All right, so we got a new topic in here now. No assignments yet, but we will create some assignments. We're going to do a new little quiz for you today. But first, before we go into that, I want to show you up here the class drive folder. Each and every one of your classes has a folder within your Google Docs drive. So if I click on that, it'll take me to that folder itself. Up here at the top, it shows the pathway. So notice My Drive. This folder is located within My Drive. It's located within the Classroom folder. So there's a special Classroom folder that's created when you create your Google Classroom account. And all of your classes will have their own folder. So if I just click on that really quick, you'll see the ones I'm a student in and the ones that I am teaching all have their own folder. So that's kind of cool. Go back to Introduction to Google Classroom, which is the one we're in. And then you notice all of my assignments also have folders. And what you will see is if you go into one of these, each and every assignment that has been turned in is in that folder now. So this is a location. If you ever want to, somebody says, hey, I turned that in, you can go back to this folder and say, yeah, no, you didn't. It's not in here. See, I've got everybody else's, but not yours. So that's kind of a nice little feature. Go back to our main part of the classroom here. But I have a file here. How are you today? And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. But that's a survey that I created prior to making an assignment, and you can do that. So one of the nice things is that you can create any new item. You can create a document, a sheet, or a slide. You can also create forms, drawings, all kinds of different things that you can create to have your students interact with. So let's go back to the classwork tab here. I'm going to create this time. Instead of an assignment, I'm going to create a quiz assignment. And I'm going to title this quiz assignment, How Are You Today? And what Google does, because it assumes you're going to have a quiz, it automatically creates a quiz form for you. Google Forms are, well, let's take a look at them. And it says blank quiz. You can title this whatever you want to. Today's quiz. And your questions, you have all kinds of choices. I'm going to go into more depth on how to create surveys and quizzes and things like that, but just to know that you can do short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, checkboxes, all kinds of different things you can do with this. So, but what I want to do is to use that quiz that I had already created. So I did this ahead of time, and I click Add. I could create a different file. Let's say I wanted to have a Word doc for this instead of a quiz. You could do that too. And I could create any one of these things I wanted to, but I have already made it. So I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm going to find the file, and I could type it in here, how are you? And you'll see that right here it comes in, how are you today prompt. I could click that and open up that file. Or I also know that within Google Docs, I put it into my drive, into the classroom folder. So here's that classroom folder, and into Introduction to Google Docs, to Google Classroom, excuse me. There's 2 quizzes in here. That blank quiz that Google already created, and the How Are You Today quiz that I created. So I'm going to put that one in there. I don't want this one, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm sorry, I'm going to delete that from the file because I just want the How Are You Today prompt, and that's it. And I make sure I double check my settings over here. I want all students in my Introduction to Google Classroom thing to take it, Introduction to Google Classroom class to take it. And I want it to be ungraded. I'm not going to penalize them if they don't do it or don't do it well. And there's no due date on this one. I just want it to happen. By topic, I do want it to go to lesson 3. But I'm going to instead put it under no topic to show you how to move that again. Now I could click assign. If I click assign, it automatically becomes visible to students right now. But let's say instead, I'm not quite done with it yet. And so you can save it as a draft if you want to. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule this assignment. I want this to go out tomorrow morning, April 2nd at 8 a.m. So click schedule. I'm going to show you what that looks like now. Right, so here's that assignment up at the top. And wait, I want it to be in lesson 3, notifications, email, Google Docs. So I'm going to slide that down here, drag it down. So now it's up in there. But notice over here on the side, it says scheduled for tomorrow at 8 a.m. And so that tells me, and you'll see that it's grayed out, right? There's a gray color here instead of the dark black type. And so that tells you that these are live. Students can see these. These are not. These are grayed out so that students won't be able to see it until tomorrow morning. You should get a notification tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. saying, hey, take this quiz that has been made for you. All right, so we'll let that be. That's our quick little introduction to integration with Google Drive. We'll do a lot more as we keep going through this. But for now, be well. I'm thinking about all of you, especially with all the new information that keeps coming out all the time from ODE. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and be well. We'll get through this. Keep sending those emails. A lot of you have been asking for help on specific topics. It's great. It gives me ideas for new videos as well. So I will talk to you very soon. Be well.